Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another American football reaction, and this one is the helmet catch finally deserves a deep rewind. Finally gets a deep rewind. Super Bowl, don't know what one that is because I'm assuming that's Roman numerals, right? I think. I don't understand. I don't know what Super Bowl that would be. But Giants versus Patriots. And this is a very new video, and people were suggesting this in my community tab. I just asked for suggestions of videos I can do in the future. And this was one. I'm enjoying getting back into American football / NFL reactions. It's refreshing to sort of get back into a sport that initially started the channel, and it's really just I'm enjoying it a lot, man. And I really enjoy these sort of historical look backs at certain events that happened. I've done a lot of basketball. I've done a lot of baseball. I never really got around to doing many with American football. I did a few, but I didn't do as many when I initially started. So I'm excited to sort of look deep into some of these sort of greatest moments of all time kind of clips. So let's check this out, man. I've seen compilations, so I may have seen the clip before, but to actually understand it fully is what I want to do, and I'm excited, man. I really do enjoy these kinds of videos. So let's check this out. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy, and yeah, let's give this a watch, man.
It's February 3rd, 2008, Super Bowl 42. We're at the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
Okay.
The New York Giants
nice
trail the
stadium.
New England Patriots by 4. They're facing 3rd and 5 on their own 44 with 1:15 left on the clock. The fact that the Giants are this close to overtaking the Patriots is unbelievable. You know those stories of moms lifting cars because their baby's stuck under there? Well, this is like if that stuck baby lifted the car off itself. And the car was really cool, like a Porsche or something. To realize just how many expectations have been thwarted to get us here, we have to rewind.
The helmet catch. I love this little moment as well.
The Giants are behind
Rewind.
14-10, which is closer than anyone thought they'd be. They weren't even supposed to be a Super Bowl team. There was a time not too long ago when the Giants looked like potential championship contenders. In 2005, they won the NFC East with a record of 11-5. It was Eli Manning's second year in the league, and everyone was like, whoa, that Manning family ought to be studied in a lab. But before anyone collected the DNA, Eli pooped the bed in the wildcard game. And while it is technically a suitable sample, nobody wants to collect DNA from poop. Under a mountain of criticism, Eli managed to lead New York to a 6-2 start the next season. With momentum behind them, the Giants politely moved out of the way and let that momentum pass them by. Eli shouldered most of the blame for the slide, which makes sense because he had some terrible performances. Going into the 2007 season, nobody expected much from Eli and the Giants. Coach Tom Coughlin simply hoped to keep his job. And the Giants lived up to the anti-hype, losing the first 2 games. The defense was the most striking problem. They allowed 80 points and 846 yards in those first 2 weeks. The Giants' season seemed doomed.
So this is an
But in week
underdog
3,
story.
they got a necessary spark. Clinging to a 7-point lead with 58 seconds left, Washington had 1st and goal from the New York 1-yard line. And that woeful New York defense? They made a goal line stand to hang on for the win.
Jeez.
That spark turned into a blaze as the Giants went on a 6-game win streak. The defense was clicking. Steve Spagnuolo, hired just this year, used a nickel defense to utilize his 4 quick rushers. Veteran Michael Strahan, recent Pro Bowler Osi Umenyiora, and up-and-comers Justin Tuck and Matthias Kiwanuka were an intimidating group. They finished 1st in the league in sacks with 53. And the team finished with a record of 10-6, all while Eli led the league in turnovers.
Oh wow.
Come playoff time, the Giants weren't expected to do much. But then Eli morphed into Advanced Eli. He led the
Advanced
team
Eli.
past the Bucs in the wildcard game, past the Cowboys and their 13 Pro Bowlers,
God
and
damn.
finally past Green Bay to win the NFC Championship. Okay, in this one, the defense helped too. They picked off Favre in overtime to set up the winning field goal. It was an inspiring Cinderella run, but even Cinderella isn't that great. I mean, she loses her shoe. As an adult. The Giants weren't given much credit, and nobody forgave them their early season flaws. In the Super Bowl, they were heavy underdogs, but a large
Jesus.
part of that was because of who they were playing, the New England
Yeah.
Patriots. A team that is currently giving Eli...
But still, they were given no chance. They were initially given no chance, from the season, and they somehow managed to get to this point, and they're still getting that sort of, not backlash. They're still getting that sort of they're not given that people aren't giving them the sort of the chance to even have an opportunity in this one, and I can see that because in certain time. There's been finals where the team is like there's two teams and one team is so clearly better, and this probably was just thought in this one. So the fact that I'm assuming we're going to see something like them proving the doubters wrong is going to be satisfying, man. But I'm intrigued to see how it happens as well.
The business, just as they've been giving the league the business for quite some time. New England recently won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, and yet the 2007 squad was not only better than those other Patriot teams, but they were potentially
I thought this was I got
the best team the NFL has ever seen. Of course, they had Tom Brady with his winning smile and winning arm, but after the Patriots blew a 21-3 lead in last year's AFC Championship, Bill Belichick and Scott Pioli made moves to surround Brady with talented targets. They picked up 5'9" undrafted free agent Wes Welker. Welker had spent the last 3 years with the Dolphins, where he was mostly a punt returner, had 2 starts last year, and lived next door to someone who didn't believe he was in the NFL. But Belichick, smarter than your average neighbor, saw something in him. The Patriots also grabbed Randy Moss. Sure, he's kind of a handful, who had reportedly lost a step, but they signed him to just a 1-year contract. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. And what do you know? It worked out. Apparently, being on a team just slightly more competent than the Raiders was good for Moss. Defenses were scared of him, which allowed Welker to make big plays from the slot. Once Welker established himself as a threat, space opened up for Moss. The result? One of the most dominant offenses in league history that literally could not be stopped. They set a ton of individual and team records this season, and most impressively, the Patriots are undefeated. They were the first...
Oh my god. So now I know why they were such underdogs then. Fucking hell.
First team in history to go 18-0, which
what?
is, sorry Patriots fans, kind of annoying. Come on, nobody's perfect. That's the rule we've all been living by. The Patriots can't just change it.
And
so, I must point out that while their record was perfect, their behavior had received some criticism. First, there was Spygate. In Week 1, the Patriots were caught videotaping the Jets' defensive signals from the sideline. Some thought there should be an asterisk next to the Patriots' record, while others thought their quality of play totally eclipsed Spygate. The Patriots were also accused of running up the score, but that's kind of a compliment if you think about it. It's like saying, you're so much better than the other team.
Literally.
Actually. Some Patriots were accused of playing dirty, but that did little to hamper their confidence. None of these accusations really stuck. Prevailing wisdom was the Patriots are perfect and they're going to roll the Giants and become the first team ever to go 19-0.
This is a really
but
good story, man.
Wait, this is a close game. How has the worst Super Bowl team managed to hang with the most winning team in history?
Oh my god.
I know what your first guess is. The New York Giants went to a warlock before the game. He put a spell on them that made them actual Giants, and they've been literally stomping and crushing the Patriots all game. But come on, look at them. That's clearly not what happened. What a weird guess. So what did happen? Well, the New York Giant defense came to play. Steve Spagnuolo used all the talents at his disposal to keep pressure on Tom Brady. OC and Strahan used their speed on the edge, Justin Tuck mixed it up, and at one point, Kawika Mitchell pulled a fake blitz. The Patriots were straight up flustered. The O-line had false starts, Tom Brady threw incompletions and yelled at his linemen. He was not used to being under so much pressure. The Giants sacked him 3 times in the first half, one of which caused a fumble. Oh, I almost forgot. They also contained Randy Moss, who had just 1 catch in the first half. But it wasn't just that the New York defense was effective. There was also the matter of Bill Belichick not respecting said defense, which was never more evident than in the third quarter. New England was winning 7-3. They had 4th and 13 at the Giants' 31. Tom Brady had just been sacked a 4th time, this time at the hands, or rather the body, of Michael Strahan. Yet Belichick ignored that, as well as usual practices, and decided to go for it. New England had converted 15 fourth downs this season, which is the second most in the league, so why not try again in the Super Bowl? Besides, Belichick had confidence from the Patriots-Giants Week 17 matchup. To be fair, the Giants were locked into their playoff seed before this game, yet still played hard and only lost by 3. To be critical, Big Blue's D allowed 38 points and only had 1 sack.
Oh my
But
days.
tonight, Belichick flew
38.
too close to the sun, and his sweatshirt wings burnt up and sent him falling to earth. Brady threw an incompletion. In the fourth quarter, Brady and Moss did finally manage to look like their usual selves, get the better of the D, and connect for a touchdown to take the lead. With 2:39 left, Eli Manning still had a chance. He got 2 first downs and then was like, hey, remember how many interceptions I threw in the regular season? And nearly threw another one, missing his wide receiver David Tyree and hitting Asante Samuel in the hands. It seemed there was some miscommunication between Eli and Tyree, but there's no time to figure out who was at fault. Right here, right now,
Here we are.
Manning's in a tight spot. He's got to count on whoever can give him a target, including David Tyree. 2003 6th-round draft pick Tyree is a self-proclaimed steady guy. The Giants drafted him as a special teams player, but he wanted more. And then coach Jim Fossil saw potential in him.
Okay.
The Giants were riddled with injuries, so Tyree got to start the last 3 games of his rookie season, where he was pretty alright. In 2004, he had just 1 start, but also got his first touchdown on a play that Tom Coughlin praised. Meanwhile, he excelled as a special teams player. His teammates were full of praise for what Tyree could do defending the punt return. And in 2005, he made the Pro Bowl for his special teams prowess. Last year, he had a shot to prove himself as a receiver when Amani Toomer went down for the season in November, but he didn't. Eli didn't look his way, and by the end of the season, Tyree was called a barely adequate wide receiver.
Jesus
At camp
Christ,
this
they
year,
really
Tyree,
doubted.
getting older, had no guarantees he'd stay on the team, and then he broke his
Really
wrist.
getting doubted. Oh my God.
Luckily, Tom Coughlin was willing to keep him on the roster. While perhaps not the strongest show of support, it's enough. Tyree came back with strength on special teams and got into the receiver rotation, mostly because Sonoris Moss turned out to be a dud, but then disaster struck. In mid-December, Tyree's mother suddenly passed away from a heart attack. Tyree traveled home and missed 2 weeks. Before she passed, his mother actually predicted the Giants would make it to the Super Bowl. She might have been the only one who called it.
That's so sad she didn't even get to see it. Oh, that's really sad, man.
So far in the season, Tyree has more tackles than catches, but there's still time to add to his stats. At the start of the 4th quarter, down 7-3, Eli used his rookies to work his way down the field. Then he was like, whoa, who's this guy in the middle? And hit Tyree with a 5-yard pass. Touchdown Giants. The special teams player, who knew he was receiver caliber since day 1, just caught the Giants' only touchdown pass thus far. And now, Eli just needs to stay on his feet and keep
This is
this
going to be
drive
magical,
alive.
man.
To get here, the Giants dug themselves out of a hole that started 3 seasons ago and lasted until week 2 this year. The defense turned itself around and Eli found his stride. They got here in the face of universal doubt, and now they cannot falter. The Patriots have not faltered all season. A great team that added carefully selected pieces to become an unfathomably great team just has to hang on to immortalize themselves with an unprecedented 19-0 season.
Man.
Welcome to a moment in history.
Let's fucking see this. I'm going to put both earphones in actually then. Like I said last video, I've got my earphone out because I'm waiting for delivery and I don't want to miss it. As to why I've been having it so I can hear it if it does come. But I've got to witness this bit. Turn it down a little bit.
Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning.
Oh, he's still got it.
On his feet, airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree.
Tyree as well. Oh
right,
man.
Giants still have to score. Eli and
About to
Flex
say.
connect and make sure that moment in history wasn't for naught.
Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
That's nuts, man. I just shuts it there. I'm guessing that's for copyright. I want to see that. Wait, what's this here? I want to see that again though, because the way he's managed to keep that, Manning, the way he's managed to keep hold of the ball whilst he's being dragged. They're trying to yank him down, pull him down.
Off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet, airs it out down the field.
And what a catch as well, man.
It is caught by Tyree.
I'm assuming they went on to win
Giants
this,
still
yeah?
have to score. Eli and
I'm
Plaxico
guessing they
connect
did.
and make sure that moment in history wasn't
30
for naught.
seconds
Burris
left.
alone. Touchdown, New York.
Underdog stories, man. The best. Underdog stories, mate, they're my favourite. I mean, when you see it like that, and when you see sort of the perspectives and the sort of the like genuinely how good the Patriots were, and like how you can like see like the Giants weren't really a favourable team, and then you put them together and the Giants somehow win it like that. I mean, it goes to show like in sport anything can happen, man. But in the Super Bowl as well. My God. And like they had like a team of not necessarily rejects, but players that weren't rated as highly, whilst the sort of Patriots had just players, the best of the best kind of players. And just like, yeah, I do like stories like this a lot. The only bad thing is about this player is Joe Buck's cool. He sounds like he's reading a grocery list, not calling one of the wildest plays in NFL history. That's what I mean. This is why commentary is so important. Like, commentary can make moments 10 times better. Like, if there was someone going nuts, like just nuts, this probably would have been one of the most iconic moments in NFL. I mean, it probably is still one of the most iconic, but in terms of like rewatching it and hearing the commentary, like it would just be one of those incredible clips. That's one I do agree with what he says there. Actually, Joe Buck called one of the best catches in history in the Super Bowl. Like he was trying not to wake someone up. I'm genuinely surprised that they haven't covered this yet. This isn't just regular Eli. This is advanced Eli. Something I love how he's put that. Something that gets forgotten about this moment is that this was David Tyree's last NFL reception. Jesus. Joe Buck ruins awesome moments like this. People don't like Joe Buck, do they? The one question I've had this entire series, does the car VCR actually work still? Look what she replied. Yes, though it's not a VCR, it's an honest God rewinder for the young guns back in the day though. You had to separate devices specifically to rewind tapes, and tapes were like YouTube, but different. I love that they replied to comments like Joe Buck. People ain't happy with him, bro. It's about damn time. Of course, Joe Buck. People hate Joe Buck, but I enjoyed this man. I'm not gonna lie. Although the commentary could have been better, the actual moment itself was incredible. And like when you get the context of like the underdog story, etc., it just makes these sort of moments, it makes you appreciate them so much more. And yeah, man, I'm guessing this is sort of like how Leicester City won the Premier League. For anyone who watches soccer, you know Leicester City was like 5,000 to 1 to win the Prem, or was it 500 to 1? No, it wasn't 500. I think it was 5. I think it was maybe 1,000. I don't even know if 5,000 to 1's even allowed in a bet. It was crazy like odds. They went on to win it. Maybe this wasn't as high, but it's the same sort of concept. Like the true underdogs have somehow managed to beat the best teams. And I mean, the Patriots record was insane. Like 18-0 is disgraceful. They just battered the league and they lose to the Giants. I mean, that's sport for you, man. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. More of these rewinds to come for sure, because I do really enjoy them. Any sports, but it's good to sort of look at American football ones in particular, because I've not done many in the past, and it'll be good to sort of learn more about the greatest moments, etc. Hopefully you guys went on to enjoy this. Until next time, like, subscribe, peace.